I have told you for a while, you got to watch the other hand. These people in Washington are magicians. There are no accidents with this administration. Everything these people do have a purpose. I want to show you 3 stories tonight. First, health care and the abortion debate. Health care will pass. Everybody is bickering over this bill today because of the federal tax dollars that are going to go pay for abortions. How can we get this out of the bill? Stop. It is a diversion. It already has you assuming that the health care bill is passing. And mark my words, what you're going to see in the next 30 minutes will confirm it. This bill will pass, and it will change everything. Next one, watch the other hand. Copenhagen. Oh, is the president going to be at Copenhagen? Yeah, sure, the big climate change conference. Everybody is focused on what's going to happen there, even though the participants readily admit no agreements are going to be reached. He doesn't have to go. Cap and trade is already here. They're just a little bit of news today that maybe you should be brought up to speed on. The EPA today has classified that CO2 as dangerous, and now we can regulate it. Gee, if we only had a really spooky regulatory czar. Oh, that's right, we do. And finally, the Whitehouse crashers. You know about these people that had crashed the White House last week in the state party. What was the diversion there? Well, who else was at the White House that they were partying with? Is it possible that a convicted felon wrote the plan for health care? Oh boy, you are not going to believe it, and you will only see it here. Stay where you are. Hello, America. Boy, oh boy, I got something that's going to blow your mind. If I asked you, what color of dress was that woman wearing at the White House last week? You'd know it, wouldn't you? What color would you say? Right? Red. Wearing a red dress. Everybody knows it now. Everyone is focused on these 2 clowns. But there was somebody else that nobody noticed. Not these 2. No. They noticed. Did anybody notice this guy? I didn't. Andrew Breitbart called me with this story over the weekend. This story is just breaking now on Breitbart.com, biggovernment.com. It's amazing. I got this call and I said, Andrew, that can't be true. Can't be. This guy was a convicted felon. A convicted felon. Robert Creamer. You know, the White House had a real problem with me saying that Van Jones, I think I said it on one episode, that Van Jones was a convicted felon. He wasn't. I didn't even know what the definition of, I thought somebody goes to jail, somebody goes to prison is a convicted felon. No. I've checked 6 ways to Sunday today. Are you sure this guy was a convicted felon? Because the White House had a real problem with me when I said convicted felon on Van Jones. So they want to make sure that Van Jones has understood he is not a convicted felon. This man is. Well, who is he? His name is Robert Creamer, and he's the husband of this woman. She's a Democrat congresswoman, from Illinois. You know her. There they are there. She said this.
Was a guy from the insurance company who then argued against the public health insurance option, saying it wouldn't let private insurance compete, that a public option will put the private insurance industry out of business and
Got it. See, before, oh, please, Glenn, you play that stuff. That's some crazy congresswoman. Really? Well, her husband, you know, the convict, he used to be the leader of the acorn-tied left-wing group called Citizens Action Illinois. Isn't Obama and all the friends from Illinois? That's weird, isn't it? But the FBI began investigating him for bank fraud, and get this, income tax evasion. This is him going into the courthouse, you know. He stepped down. In 2006, he was convicted and served a 1.5 years in federal prison and house arrest, okay? While he was in prison, he wrote a book. It's a nice book. This is 2006, remember? Name of the book, Listen to Your Mother, Stand Up Straight, How Progressives Can Win. Are you with me so far? Here we have this convicted felon, married to this congresswoman, at the same party right here at the state dinner. He went to prison. Right. By the way, this is a doctored photo. I want you to know this is not an actual photo of him behind bars, but he was behind bars. Okay? Convicted felon at this party. I understand that's exceptionally rare for a felon to attend something at the White House. He wrote this book. Now, it's interesting that in his prison manual, Creamer laid out a progressive agenda for structural change. It included a 10-point plan for foisting universal health care on you in 2009, written in 2006. Remember, his wife, Congresswoman, this is what she said. Do you remember?
Public option will put the private insurance industry out of business and leave.
Okay, so now here they are last week hanging out at the White House and the president. How does a convicted felon go to parties with the president? How does that happen? Especially when he wrote a prison novel. I mean, this prison book, it's got to be crazy, right? Well, let's look in the prison manifesto, see if any of this sounds familiar. He says, quote, "We must create a national consensus that health care is a right, not a commodity, and that government must guarantee that right." Well, have they accomplished this one? Here's Barack Obama's second presidential debate last year. Here it is.
For every American.
Do we have it? Do we have it? Okay. Trust me, he said it. Health care is not a right. It is not in the Constitution. Progressives like FDR wanted a second Bill of Rights. He wanted to make it a right, along with creating a right to a job, a right to a house. That would, of course, fundamentally transform America. Also, another fan of this, regulatory czar Cass Sunstein. This is the most dangerous man in America. He likes the idea of this. We'll come back to him in about a half an hour. Don't miss it. Now, right? Yep, that's what they're pushing for. Next on the list, we must create a national consensus that the healthcare system is in crisis. Do we have a crisis? Watch.
The need for reform is urgent and it is indisputable.
Sure, it's indisputable. How many times have you heard those words, health care crisis? I haven't seen the health care. 80% of people are happy with their health care. Still, from the federal prison cell, Robert Creamer had more suggestions for health care reform. This one, you gotta love. Our messaging program over the next 2 years should focus heavily on reducing the credibility of health insurance industry and focusing on the failure of private health insurance. Have they done that?
If you're worried about rationed care, higher costs, denied coverage, or bureaucrats getting between you and your doctor, then you should know that that's what's happening right now. In the past 3 years, over 12 million Americans were discriminated against by insurance companies due to a pre-existing condition, or saw their coverage denied or dropped just when they got sick and needed it most. Americans whose jobs and health care are secure today just don't know if they'll be the next to join the 14,000 who lose their health insurance every single day.
One man from Illinois lost his coverage in the middle of chemotherapy because his insurer found that he hadn't reported gallstones